Alright, welcome back to another Division video. In this video, we're actually going to cover why the Reclaimer build is the best support build in 1.6.1 and probably ever in the game. Not just because it evolves around the support station, but also because it makes your team better. So what I'll do is I'll actually explain those reasons, go over the gear, go over the mods, go over the weapons. As you can see my setup, I feel this is the best setup for the Reclaimer. I have tried the 4 Reclaimer, 2 Tactician, just so you can have the 50% skill haste. That is unnecessary with you having it set up this way. So I'll actually go over everything and you can kind of decide for yourself. So DPS 235, toughness 316. I don't like to be too far under 300 because, I mean, that makes you a little bit too squishy. And if you're trying to support the team, if you're down, or you're dead, you can't support the team. So you don't need high toughness, but you should have a decent amount of toughness. Also, for the purposes of this build, 266 is plenty of skill power because you're not a healer build. You just have to have enough skill haste and enough skill power to make your support station effective. So 216 toughness, 266 skill power. We're using 2 pieces of high end with 4 pieces of Reclaimer. So we'll go over our Reclaimer pieces first, then we'll go over our high ends, and then we'll go over our weapons. Go over the mods real quick, and I'll kind of give you an example to show you what I mean when I'm saying this is the best support build and why this is the best setup instead of 4-piece Reclaimer, 2-piece Tactician, or whatever else you want to choose to do. So let's get to it. Reclaimer mass. Armor obviously could be higher, but we do have a almost max roll and stamina, high roll skill power. We have burn resistance. I just chose to go with burn resistance. You can go whatever you want here. Damage to elites. I forgot what else you can get on a minor, but you can choose whatever you want. I'm going with burn because that ends up being a problem. So I actually did burn on my mask and my backpack, but you can switch that to whatever you want. For anyone who's not aware of the set bonuses for the Reclaimer, the 2-piece set bonus is 30% support station range. The 3-piece is 50% support station duration, and the 4-piece, which is the Reclaimer talent, support station gains the benefit of the life support, immunizer, and ammo cast at the same time. So the obvious part is I actually don't see that many people running Reclaimer, which it's kind of odd. Because people did a lot when it was about consumables, but now I don't see that many people running it. But anyway, the benefit of the life support, immunizer, and ammo cache actually add, they make your team a lot better. And I'll explain that when I actually go over the support station and the mods and everything like that. But keep that in mind for now. For our mod, we have electronic mod with skill haste. On to our knee pads, we have, I think that might be a max rolling armor, not sure. Almost max rolling electronics. We have high health. We have blind, bleed, and increased kill XP. Increased kill XP once again because I usually use this for PvE, either legendary missions or incursions. So the more increased kill XP you have, that's the more caches and stuff you're gonna get anyway. Alright, then we have bleed resistance that comes in handy. Blind, deaf, that comes in handy, but that could easily be swapped out for something else, burn or whatever else. I just didn't have one with bleed, increased kill XP, and burn, and I wanted bleed and increased kill XP. Alright, and then scroll down for our mods. We have an electronic mod, skill haste, and then as of right now, 7.5 support station range is the max performance mod you can actually get. If they do a gear score increase or something like that, I would assume they would raise that. Yeah, I would assume they would raise that compared to 1.3. I want to say, yeah, 1.3. You can get your Reclaimer support station to 15 meters. Right now, I believe the max you can get it is to 12. All right, go to our holster. 1213. We have decent armor. Decent firearms, pretty high stamina and electronics, and skill haste. And then once again, another performance mod with 7.5 support station range. On to the gloves, we have almost high armor, almost a max roll on electronics, high assault rifle damage, skill haste, and crit chance. The reason we went with crit chance because we're using the Caduceus, and the Caduceus actually heals your team every time you crit. It doesn't matter about how much damage you're doing, all as long as you're critting, you're actually healing your team also. So that's why we have a crit chance. So that is a damn near perfect, in any situation, damn near perfect Reclaimer gloves right there. All right, so now for our two pieces of high end, we have up here. First thing we'll do is go over our chest piece, high armor, almost max electronics, high health, skill haste, and then we have more increased kill XP. You could easily make that ammo capacity. I just find that not to be necessary because you're using a support station that uses the ammo mod. So, I mean, when you're usually shooting, either if you can't restock, you're in your support station range, so you won't be using ammo anyway. This chest piece is the Reclaimer. I mean, not the Reclaimer, I'm sorry, the rapid chest piece. Decreased cooldown for healing skills by 15%. So you have to factor that in. Whatever your cooldown is, it's going to decrease it by another 15%. Also, what some people don't realize, the ammo mod for the support station actually gives you and your team 15% skill haste. So I'll actually kind of show that also. All right, for our backpack, we have a specialized backpack for more skill power, high roll in electronics, health, and then we have burn resistance. Like I said, burn resistance on my backpack, burn resistance on my mask. Do we have a firearms with skill haste, just so we can unlock our talents in our weapon, and then two more 7.5 support station range mods. And then I don't know if I showed you these, but we have two electronic mods. I think those are almost max with skill haste on both. Now for our weapons, we'll go over real quick. We're using, our primary is actually the Caduceus. I'm not really worried about the actual DPS damage and things like that. Like I said, it's a support build. You're not supposed to, it's not about having the highest DPS. But as far as the talents, we're using critical hits with this weapon. Heal the user for 3% of damage dealt. Since this is actually, we're trying to crit as much as possible. Each time we crit, we're healing ourselves for another 3%. Talented, killing the target with this weapon increases skill power by 15% for 20 seconds. And then the Caduceus talent, your group for 1% of your skill power, can only heal each player once every 0.2 seconds. In my opinion, that deserves a buff. Maybe the 2%, 3%, or maybe remove the timer. It's not like it's an assault rifle, so it's not like you're critting all the time. Unless you're running with a tactician, he's got a high pulse or something like that, but you're not critting all the time. But it is actual healing for your team, so it works out. And then I'll show the mods real quick. Rugged Mini Reflex Sight, almost nobody runs those, but I'm using it for the extra crit chance. Crit chance in our magazine, crit chance on our muzzle. And then we have the reload speed, stability, and crit damage on our underbarrel. And that is a Caduceus. If you haven't seen one before, that is Caduceus. And then our secondary is actually the Tenebrae, which I don't see people using, but the only reason I'm using it with this build is, one, I have all three exotics and I like the way it's set up, but also because of the actual Tenebrae exotic talent. So our first talent is Competent. Competent weapon damage increased by 10% for 15 seconds after using a skill. So that works. Talented, once again, killing the target with this weapon increases skill power by 15% for 20 seconds. And then the exotic talent is Lights Out. Destroying an enemy weak point resets skill cooldowns for you and your nearby group members. Can happen once every 10 seconds. So you're not going to get all the use out of that. I do think the Tenebrae deserves a slight buff just because of I just think it deserves a slight buff, because then you'll be able to use that more if you're doing a little more damage. But once again, like I said, it's the best support build. So if you're supporting your team, you're able to revive them, everything like that, able to heal them, but also healing with your caduceus, but also if you actually, destroy enemy weak point with the tenebrae, you'll reset their skill cooldowns. So you're technically making the team better, which is why I have it set up like this. And then for sidearm, we have the Centurion, but I also have the Golden Rhino, and I have all the other ones too. I don't know why this purple's in there. But those the gear. That's the gear, the weapons. Now we're gonna go over character sheet real quick. Firearm, stamina, electronics. We have weapon damage, crit chance is based off. For some reason, it's going based off the. Let me see. All right, so 18.5 crit hit chance. Obviously, that could go up if I have a pulse or something like that. But 18.5 crit damage, headshot damage. Skill haste right now we're at 38%. The reason we're at 30, we actually didn't need to be at 38%. But you factor in the rapid chest piece, it decreases that by another 15%. Your cooldown for your healing skills, as this is a reclaimer build, all you're using is, I'm using a first aid and I'm using the support station. Those are both healing skills, so that's why I'm using the rapid chest piece. But I'm just showing this right now so you can actually see it. It's the skill haste is at 38%. So just so I can actually show you, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to remove one of these. Main reason being is so I can actually get to 35%. So what I'm saying is the support station actually gives you skill haste. It gives you skill 15% skill haste. So that's why I'm going to 35, 15. Should make us reach the cap. So I will drop my support station and we'll go back to our character sheet, take a look at this, and you can see we're at 50%. So that means for you and your squad, it's an extra 15% skill haste. So even if your squad, you have somebody who's running DPS build or whatever build they're running, if they're not at the cap, easily you putting down your support station is going to give you and them an extra 15% skill haste. And the majority of the time, the uptime on the support station is going to be really high. So you won't actually have to worry about that's going to be almost constant, that extra 15% for you and your squad. And then of course you have the signature resource gain, which means everybody gets their skills back quicker, and they also get their signatures back quicker also. So what I'm saying, it's the best support build. You're actually making them better, because if they're able to heal themselves or use their skills more often, it's making them better. And obviously if you're doing incursions or legendary missions, if you're able to use your signature skill more, and they're able to do theirs more, that's also a bonus too. And that 30% is, that's a third. That cuts down the time by a third. That's a lot. So now we're going to go over, obviously we have our abilities that we're using. We have our skill, which is the overdose. And then we have our support station. The only reason I have the base on is because since I'm wearing Reclaimer, I get all three of these. I get all three mods. And what we're going to do very quick is just go over the mods. Life support drops revival station that automatically revives allies who are down within the affected area. We should all know what that does. Then we have Immunizer drops recovery station that removes status effects. And then we have the ammo cache, which is what I'm saying, reduce your skill haste, or it gives you 15% skill haste. While close to the device, allies regain their ammo as they reload, and skill cooldown recovery is faster, which works out. And I thought the max was 12. I don't know why it's showing me that it's 10. That's very odd. 10.2. That must have been after they reworked it in 1.5, 1.6. Let me throw this back on real quick, and what I'll do is show you, I have all support station mods on there. The max you can get right now. The lovely JTF is of course standing around not doing shit as usual, but I'll throw out the support station, and that's why I said before this was 15 meters. So you could actually, in 1.3, you can actually have a support station range of 15 meters. For some reason, this is saying that it's 10.2. I think in 1.4 it was actually 12, I want to say. So I don't know if somehow they changed it and I just didn't know or didn't realize. But obviously the support station is big enough for you to move around, kind of go and cover and do whatever you need to do. So if you have teammates here, you have some over here, or over there, at least it gives you a larger range to actually move around. And of course, while you're in that range, you'll obviously get remove status effects. So legendary missions removes the bleed, the disorient, disrupt, all that stuff. Also, if your teammates get down within it, they automatically get picked up. Plus, you have that 15% skill haste. So we are still at 50%, and then that's not including if you're using triage and things like that. So that's the support station range. Last thing we're going to go over is the talents we are using. We have triage. That's kind of easy one. I mean, that's a simple one. If you're in a group, you should be running triage regardless. So we have triage, heal an ally with a skill to reduce skill cooldowns by 15%. I am not sure if that works with the support station. Obviously, if you shoot a heal on the ground, it works, but technically, as it reads, it says heal an ally with a skill. So the support station is a skill. If it's healing your team, technically it should activate this skill cooldown. So I don't know if that works like that, but obviously if you're using your first aid, it's gonna work, and that'll get you your skills back quicker. We also have Battle Buddy, revive a down agent to reduce incoming damage by 30% for 10 seconds for both players. So you have the support station, which is going to actually revive them. That means they take 30% less damage, and you also take 30% less damage. So that's helping your survivability, which is why I talked about the whole thing of being squishy. You want to be able to go ahead and make sure you're staying up enough and you're doing what you need to do so you can actually support the team. We are using critical save. Some people wouldn't use this, and they might use another talent. I'm using this because the whole thing I said, survivability. I think everybody should do critical save. Using Medikit at low health to increase damage resistance by 20% for 10 seconds. That's huge. I mean, especially on legendary missions, incursions, and that's what I use this build for. So if I stay alive, that means I can help my teammates stay alive. And last but not least, combat medic, using Medikit near allies to heal group members and proxies within 20 meters by 40%. So I pop a Medikit, or I see one of my teammates is getting low, and say my first aid is down, I can pop a Medikit, either remove a status effect, or I can just heal them, and that'll heal all of them, the other 3 people on the squad. But that's basically it. Sorry the video's so long, but like I said, I wanted to go over everything. I do feel this is the best support build. If you have any questions, please go ahead and leave a comment below. I have this character on Xbox, as you can tell by the buttons they have displayed down there. But yeah, any questions, concerns, either comment below or send me a message on Xbox. Gamer tag is Ant4 Gaming. Also, once again, I see people still not doing this, but if you have your support station out, before it actually, don't let it blow up, pop it. So all you're doing, if you hit your RB, LB, whatever you're using, just make sure before it goes out, just tap it again, and it'll give you and your squad an overheal, which actually helps your team. So that should be it. Appreciate it. Yeah, have a good one.